Hi guys, I'm Julie Pennell and this is Write Your Story and I am with the fabulous Kristy Woodson Harvey today. Hi Kristy.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited about your new venture. It's awesome.
Thank you. So the last time we were together face to face was in August for my book launch party for Louisiana Lucky, which you hosted with me.
Which I love that
That
book.
was one of my favorite conversations that I've ever
I was actually just thinking about how that's exactly what I want to read right now. So I wish that you had another book right now.
I'm working on it.
Thanks, Julie. You've ruined my summer.
But I have to say that you look totally different than the last time we saw each other face to face, and I can't put my finger on it.
Oh, do I?
Is it that you're a New York Times bestselling author now?
I just got that. I was like, do I look different? I do. I am very different now. Completely. It's changed me massively in the last week. I mean, I'm just no, I am so excited though. Like I'm such a nerd, but I'm so excited.
Oh my God. I feel like that's like the dream besides like writing a novel for every writer. It's getting to that list.
Like, I'm sure I should be like, oh, thank you. Like, but I'm not. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know. Can you believe it? Like, I'm like, that probably isn't humble. Like, I'm Southern. I should say something like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just
like get a t-shirt and be like, I'm a New York Times bestseller.
Like, do you think like a forehead tattoo? No, but I think it's something that like, I mean, you know, when you work so hard for so many years and there's so many people involved in that too, it's not just like, oh, I hit the list. Like all those people had to like buy your book and all of my friends like you had to like shout it out. And I mean, it's like a monstrous team effort.
So, okay. So for those who don't know, which I don't know who that would be, but this is the book that hit the bestseller list. It came out April 20th and Under the Southern Sky. It's so beautiful, so charming.
Thank you.
I highly recommend everyone pick it up.
Thank you.
So this series is talking to authors, apparently New York Times bestselling authors, about their journeys to publication in hopes of inspiring those who want to write their first novel to actually put pen to paper and do it. And I think that you are a great example for this because a lot of your career has been through hard work and determination. So your first novel, Dear Carolina, came out in what year was that?
2015.
2015. Okay. But you had written a couple of books before.
Yes.
So let's talk about what inspired you to write a book in the first place? Like, where did that come from?
So at the time, so I've been to journalism school and I had a master's in English. So this would have been like an obvious like life path, but I was just dead set that I was never going to write a novel. That was like not something that I wanted to do. And I actually graduated and got a job in finance. So I was working in this job in finance, doing something totally different than anything that I had ever studied or learned about. And I had this idea and I knew it was a book. I mean, I'd written enough short stories that I knew this was like a longer idea. But I'll never get published. This will never happen. So why would I waste my time? But then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to write a book and I'm going to look back on my life and I'm going to be like, I wrote a book and no one ever saw it, but I know I did it. And that'll be a good feeling. I finished it and I polished it up and, just kind of like put it to the side. And then, but I had already, started working on the second one. So I finished that one. And by the time I was finished with the second, I had an idea for a third. And when I wrote the third one, I was like, this is, it wasn't like that I thought it was that great, but it was that I thought I had found my voice. I was like, this is a book that sounds like Kristy, the author, not Kristy trying to write a book. Like it was something different. It was like this little shift. And I don't even know what that was, but I just knew I felt it. And I did actually end up signing with a literary agent for that book. So, Dear Carolina was actually a sequel to that book.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes. My agent was trying to sell that third manuscript, and Dear Carolina was just kind of like a rough draft. I mean, I'd probably been through it like a time or two, but it was certainly not anything clean that I would have submitted. but I submitted it to a writing contest just to get some feedback on it. And it won the writing contest. And there was an editor at Penguin Random House who was one of the judges, and she ended up buying the book. I mean, I did a rewrite for her, and it took a year. I mean, it was a long process, but I wasn't like, I won a contest, I got a book deal. It wasn't like that, but that is how she was introduced to the book, weirdly, since I had an agent. And that's how Dear Carolina ended up getting published. So, yeah, I mean, you never know, but I definitely think there's something to, I'm not saying that everyone should go write a bunch of manuscripts they put to the side, but I definitely think that it's something that you have to kind of work on, because you have to get a feel for, even if you're a writer, you have to get a feel for this new genre and what it's like.
What do you think it is about Dear Carolina that got it published over the others?
I think so much of publishing, I mean, I would love to, sing my own literary praises, but I think so much of publishing is being at the right place at the right time. I really do. It hit a chord. It struck a chord with that particular editor for whatever reason, that she wanted to publish it. And I think she thought it would strike a chord with other women. And I mean, I think it did. It's still, honestly, to this day, I probably have gotten the most really almost just kind of like life-changing letters from people about that book. Because people tell you their stories, about the baby that they gave up, or, the child that they adopted, or, people have really fascinating stories around that. And so it's really gratifying to me, even though, I mean, it certainly is far from my best-selling book, but just, I feel like the people it resonated with in a really specific way.
Yeah.
So
it's one of my favorites. I love that book. I read it while I was pregnant, and it was just very emotional.
Well, and I had just had a baby when I wrote that book.
Right.
My son Will was 3 days old when I started that book. So there is definitely real hormones in that story.
Okay, so let's also talk about that, because I think a lot of people who want to write a book are like, oh, well, I have this going on in my life, or I just had a baby. What was your secret? What advice do you have for people who are very busy? How do you do it?
So I think you cannot be precious about your writing time when you have a real life. I think people get this idea in their heads of what it looks like to be a writer. And I don't know about you, but it does not look like that for me. And especially, I mean, more so now because my son's 9, he's in school during the day. I have these uninterrupted blocks of times in which to be a writer. But for those first few years, I mean, there was none of that. He was a baby. A lot of times, I mean, I wrote a lot of Dear Carolina in the middle of the night, while I was up for feedings. And I learned, and maybe I already knew because I had done journalism school, and I was used to being on deadlines and stuff. But I learned how to write in these little snippets of time, and how to leave notes for myself so that I could just pick right back up. And and I told myself okay, you might have only had 20 minutes today, but that was 20 minutes.
Well, like they say, you can't edit a blank page.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's just about getting those words on the page.
Exactly. Okay. So you've gone from Dear Carolina to Under the Southern Sky. Now you're a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author. You were already a best-selling author. What advice would you give to your younger self when you were writing Dear Carolina, knowing what you know now?
I think I would just tell her that it's going to be really hard, but it's going to be worth it. You just have to be patient, and it's slow, and it's not terribly slow, but you grow a little as you go along, and you learn, and you do new things, and it's all going to work out.
Yeah. Good advice. Okay, so I have a little game. Okay, so you guys on Friends and Fiction are called Fab Five, but this game is called Fast Five.
Ooh.
Fast Five.
So
it's literally just interview questions, but you just have to do them really fast.
It's not my strong suit.
So top of your head.
I'm going to try.
Okay. Favorite part of writing a book?
When you get in that flow state, and it's just coming out of you, and you don't even know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Least favorite part about writing a book?
Line edits.
Favorite drink to sip while you write?
Hot chocolate.
Good one. Best trick for writer's block?
doing something completely mindless, like where you're not thinking about anything at all, like walking, sitting on the beach, just having no thoughts at all. Getting in the shower is really good.
Oh yeah, shower thinking is really good too. Yeah. And who's your first reader?
My mom.
Mine too. Is she just like totally optimistic, like positive and like?
And I have to have that. I cannot have a like, well, I mean like, oh, it's wonderful. It's the best thing you've ever written. Like I have to have that just for my,
my mom is like exclamation points like all the time. So I can tell if there's only like one exclamation point, I'm like, I have to start over,
I'm throwing the book away. The book is awful.
But if it's like 6, I'm like, oh, this is
okay, I'm really rocking this.
Okay, so do you want to just give us a rundown of Under the Southern Sky for people who haven't picked it up, which they should pick it up?
So Under the Southern Sky is about an investigative journalist named Amelia who is working on a story about what people do with their leftover frozen embryos after they've completed IVF. And she accidentally stumbles upon this list of abandoned frozen embryos, which basically means that their fate is sort of up in the air. And she sees the name of her childhood friend Parker and his late wife Greer on this list. And so she knows she has to tell Parker. And then Parker has to decide what he's going to do with what is the last remaining part of this woman that he loved so much.
And it's beautiful. And no wonder it was a New York Times bestseller. I'm so proud of you and happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us where we can see you, where we can connect with you.
So my website is KristyWoodsonHarvey.com. My favorite social media is Instagram. I'm at Kristy W. Harvey on Instagram. And then I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey on Facebook, Kristy W. Harvey on Twitter. And
And Friends and Fiction.
Friends and Fiction, yes. And then Wednesday nights, there's a Facebook group called Friends and Fiction. And Wednesday nights at 7 p.m., we go live. It's Mary Kate Andrews, Kristen Harmel, Patty Callahan Henry, Mary Alice Monroe, and me. And then we have guest authors on from time to time, and it's lots of fun. So come join us. And you can find out more at friendsandfiction.com.
Yeah, you guys have like created a really cool community. And I think that
Thank you.
A lot of people love it. And I think it's been really great for a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, like me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you. I can't wait until we can like get back together in person.
Yeah. That's going to be a really good day.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and I can't wait to read what you're working on next.
Yeah. So
it's exciting.
Still in the very early process. Okay. I need all of your advice. I'm going to go back and rewatch this. That's basically why I'm doing this. So get all of the
That's what we always say on Friends and Fiction. We're doing this for other authors writing tips for that part of the program. It's really just for that.
Exactly. I need the inspiration.
Yes.
As it's like I'm starting over. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. And I'll see you soon. And go enjoy that New York Times bestselling life.
Thanks, Julie.
All right. I'll see you. Bye.